Those who face eternity easily forget what a lifetime means, what an ending means.
You know it doesn't have to be this way.
No, Kunavine, it does. They need me.
Well, welcome guys to End of Dragons Daily. We're on 62 today. As many of you eagle-eyed people noticed, we did do episode 60 twice yesterday, but it's fine because it was just April 1st. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed a little bit of the Final Fantasy 14 in the background. And today, I figure let's shake it up a little bit. I feel like I need a bit of a shake-up, to be honest. Let's bring Boots back. Hello, Boots.
Hello. Hi.
How's it been going?
Pretty good, pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, not bad. So I think last time you were on, didn't I have a specific subject that we were doing?
You asked about build stuff, I think?
Was it build stuff? Well, look, this time we don't have a specific subject, but you remember last time you said to everyone, I'll pick the range of pets you want to see. I'm going to leave it up to you for the next topic. You're going to pick an elite spec, but we'll get to that at the end. So, yeah, a bunch of random comments from you guys on a variety of things, and we'll get some of my feedback as well as Boots here. Starting off with Matt D, who says, I've been playing some of the Season 4 maps lately, and the Paragons and Dervishes there have got me thinking about what Guild Wars 2 implementation of NPCs using the Canthan professions could look like. What bundle of 3 to 5 skills would really encapsulate the Guild Wars 1 professions for you? I feel like any NPC ritualist we meet needs to be using Spirit Rift as their big nuke, but what spirits or bundles would they summon? And Assassins, how do you make them distinctly the Guild Wars 1 version instead of just a renamed Thief NPC? So I kind of really like this question because I forget so often about the fact there were Paragons actually in Season 4, and they're properly using land spears and everything, aren't they? Like, they've got actual animations and everything.
Yeah.
It feels to me like the fact those animations exist is almost a good sign
that we might get spears?
Yeah, maybe with the next or something. I don't know. But as for the new, well, I should say the old professions and what they might do going forwards, this is a good idea too, because as I've said before, I really don't know whether Guild Wars 2 needs a ritualist elite spec or an assassin.
Well, he's talking about NPC ritualists.
Yeah. I don't think the game needs those as full elite specs necessarily, but having them as NPCs kind of fills the gap at least a little bit, you know? At least we still get to feel like we're going to Cantha and there are assassins around. It's just that we're not playing them. I don't know. Maybe they're missing a trick and they should do them as full-fledged elite specs. I don't know. But what would that look like?
Well, if they have honestly, just having the spirits the way they looked in the original Guild Wars would go a long way to that, you know? Like, seeing the spirits again. Yeah,
what, like bound by the chains and with those kind of like orb-throwing animations? Yeah, because we haven't seen that for a while. I kind of like the idea, you know, Guild Wars 1 Writs had 2 ideas of spirits. They had the offensive ones that would throw stuff, you know, like Bloodlust and Wanderlust and Shadow Song. But then they also had like the passive ones that would have a big area effect and then die as they shielded you. You know, like every time you block, displacement takes damage or something. And I don't know, I feel like that kind of is a gap in Guild Wars 2. They could do... That could be something real they go with. So maybe some NPCs running that sort of stuff and you can feel their impact as allies, because so often you don't in the game. And then for Assassin, I don't know. I just think a lot of shadow stepping, really. I know that the Thief already shadow steps a lot, probably more even than the Guild Wars 1 Assassin did. But
yeah, I mean, I think we could have a lot of Assassin Onis out there running around.
Yeah, well, the good point as well. I mean, we were talking about those in a recent part. Like, for them, I think Scorpion Wire, I want to really see as kind of a...
But we have Scorpion Wire already.
Yeah, but like a special kind of Oni variant, you know, that's maybe a little bit more hexy or violent or dangerous or something. You know?
I want to see more, like, shadow magic. Like, yes, you have shadow arts in Thieves already, but, like... One of the things about Assassins that you kind of miss in Shadow Arts and normal Thief stuff is that it's a lot more magic-y. A lot more like, shadow. You turn into a shadowy figure or something and do stuff.
I think Assassin's Promise is interesting as well. That's like a big iconic Thief thing. Assassin thing, sorry, for me. But I don't know how an NPC would really utilize that in a nice visual way. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe they go in a whole new direction when it comes to the assassins, and they have them like rappelling up and down walls and stuff like that. You know, maybe that's where they go, and it's more about how they move rather than the skills they're executing in fights. And this is all pretty subtle anyway, because again, I almost forget about the Sun Spears, the actual paragons in Season 4. Where the hell were their dervishes in Season 4? I don't remember seeing actual dervishes.
I don't either, actually, but there must have been.
Well, you've got there's the dervish boss, basically, right? In the fractal.
Yeah. What's her name?
Is it Amala? I think was her name or something. Anyway.
Yeah, she was cool.
Right, so the next one we've got is from Bellatoire. This is French, isn't it? Isn't it? Don't you snigger at me.
The one I have is... Okay, you went all the way down to the bottom here. Bellatoire.
All right, there you go. A topic that might be fun after... It's so good to have you here for those chucky names. After looking at that beautiful map. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Boots, I need to send you this map. So this is some fan art that I put up on screen for people on yesterday's part. It's made by Socks. I think they go by Tyrion Tales on YouTube. You guys can check out their channel. I think they left a comment on yesterday's video. So here, Boots, check out this image, and I'll throw it on screen for everybody as well right now. So we were looking at this, and the comment for today says, a topic that might be fun after looking at this beautiful map. How would you split up Cantha into maps? POF has proven that they can do huge maps on a scale where I wonder if they could do all of Cantha on a single one. But would it be better for them to split it up, and if so, how far? Would you put each piece of a city on a different map? And then, what about those areas beyond the Jade Sea and the Echovald Forest that have been unexplored so far? What would you call those, and what types of maps could those be?
Well, those would probably be related to the living story after the expansion comes out.
I agree. If they did like Living World and it's like we're going to new environments altogether now, the southern areas of Cantha are a great starting point, aren't they?
Yeah, and clearly you'd have the island as its own thing, Xingzhe.
Right. You think that? Yeah, I can see that.
That would be one big map, Xingzhe Island.
I do just want to say as well, to the commenter who's saying, oh, they can do Cantha entirely as one map. They can't. I know that with POF they made the maps bigger, but they were very, very clear with POF, where they said, this is as big as our engine can handle. This is as big as Guild Wars 2 can go. This is completely pushing the limits. What a lot of people don't realize about POF is that the Crystal Oasis map, the opening map with Amnoon on it and all that stuff, was actually supposed to be the same map as the Desert Highlands. You know, originally, and for a long time, that was their plan, to have those as the same map, but then they split them in two because they found that the engine couldn't handle going bigger than that. They really did push it to its limit. So I don't think you're going to see all of Cantha in one map. I think that's beautiful.
I hope not anyway, because why would they do that?
Well, maybe there's something to be said about getting away from rectangles and invisible walls and some kind of more open exploration. Don't you think there's something there, maybe?
There's something there, but I think it just makes sense that they'd have more than one map. Especially since like you could have one entire the city of Canning City map. Mm-hmm. And I think you could have that kind of small as a map, because I think what they could do is
cram a lot into a small space,
cram a lot more vertically, etc. But also on top of that, say because the Empire rules this area and they have a lot of rules, you're not allowed to mount up in there.
Yeah, that. Oh, and then you can use the map boundaries as kind of a justification for entire swathes of the world that you can't mount, and it's kind of always clear to players where those are. Yeah, you know, there was kind of a thing in Guild Wars 1 where it was all very nice and pretty in Xingji, and then you had this horrible, like, story arc where you're in the city and it's full of sludge and destitution and burning buildings and plague and rot, and it's nasty. And then finally, way later, you get out of the city again and you're in the Maisheng Hills and it's all green and it's lovely and you feel free again. I really kind of like the idea of Guild Wars 2 having a similar experience. And they lean into it like with mounts, you know, it's claustrophobic, you can't mount in the city, and then finally you get to the other side and it's like, okay, here, you can have your mounts back now. And, you know, that kind of release and that freedom that you'd feel afterwards would probably be really kind of satisfying, just as the Guild Wars 1 sort of world executed it.
Yeah. A good way to answer this question, too, though, is to know what's happening with the Jade Sea.
Right. Well, we can't, it does seem like it's probably going to be frozen at this point.
Still, you think?
Yeah, because of the little subtle concept art moments we've had, it seems like at least good chunks of it will be frozen. They're very vague, but again with Echoveld, I feel like a lot of it's still going to be kind of stony, but with a bit of regrowth there. I think the devs are going to try and eat their cake and have it too on this one.
Like it's slowly turning back, but you have pools of water in the Jade Sea.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, to be very clear, I think we can have a Xingji map, a Jade Sea map, an Echo Veld map, a city map. That's 4 already. And looking at their original ideas for POF, they wanted 4 maps. Heart of Thorns, they wanted and did 4 maps. So it wouldn't surprise me if this expansion is also just 4 maps. That would disappoint me, to be clear. I'd love it to be 6. If they hit 6 maps, I'd be super keen with that. And maybe in that situation, Boots, if they did 6 maps, one of them could be kind of a mountainous region. One of them maybe could be the island to the south of Xingji, and another section of the city entirely, or something.
Yeah, you could have like a city. See down there, a little, not a little peninsula, but the large kind of peninsula of half city, half mountainous area.
Yeah, you could do that. Or another thing they could do is they could do like 2 Echo Veld maps and 2 Jade Sea maps, and it's the. It's it's like the top half, so they're all 50-50 maps, right? So
yeah, but think about how nice that would look. You climb up to the top of the mountain and see the city sprawled out like that.
Yeah, that would look good, you know. That actually makes me think, in POF, if you go to the northern map, the Desert Highlands, and you look south from high, you remember that giant waterfall in the Desert Highlands, like just the truly epic waterfall? If you're standing on top of that and you look back towards Amnoon, you can see the pyramids and stuff that you would fly by on the airship at the very beginning of the game. They kind of actually they did the environment art really well in POF, where you can be looking into an entirely different area and the geography is still correct. So maybe they can pull it off without even needing to be all on the same map, you know?
Yeah. Hey, I have a question. Down at the south of the island there, is that snowy areas?
Well, what do you mean? The south of the continent, the whole continent?
Yeah,
well, that's
southeast,
purely speculative. We don't know. This is just fan art. The only way all we really know in the lore is the outline of this continent. The actual detailing and texture that's down there, that's all fan art. That's just what this person imagines that these areas might end up looking like, and they're actually.
And where is the deep sea dragon right now? Inside the middle of the Jade Sea?
No, I don't like that idea. People have talked to me about that a few times. They like the idea that the deep sea dragon was under the Jade Sea and then the Jade Sea melted and released it or something.
Also, it's a sea, so why would the deep sea dragon be?
Well, here's the thing. I mean,
sea?
In the movement of the world, they kind of talk about how tentacles have been oppressing people from a long way, and the Karka have been displaced, and the Crate, and the Lagos, and the Quaggan. The deep sea dragon, I do think, is actually roaming the oceans. I don't think it's isolated in the Jade Sea. So then it kind of becomes a question of, you know, how exactly does the Jade Sea... Can you see there's like that river that seems to connect the Jade Sea to the oceans?
Two of them, yeah.
Did the deep sea dragon travel through that? Is there like a subterranean cave system it went through? Like, what's the story here? I don't know. And you know, it's weird because we're talking about elder dragons as well, you know. And when an elder dragon awakes, it's supposed to really mess stuff up. Like we saw at the start of Heart of Thorns, like we saw with Zaitan raising ore, like we saw the creation of the brand. What kind of stuff got messed up when the deep sea dragon woke up? Where is that? Is that Cantha? Is there just a giant smoking crater there now because of the deep sea dragon's brand, so to speak? You know, the devs could do all of that stuff, and we just haven't got an inkling of it yet. So it's quite exciting, really.
Yeah, I expect there to be at least 4 maps. So yeah, Xingji Island, the city, Echo Veld Forest, Jade Sea, and some surrounding areas, and maybe if we're lucky, we get a 5th map that's a combination of 2.
Yeah, I would like to be in a world where we get 5. But 6 would be awesome, because what that would be is that would represent an improvement over POF, which itself was an improvement over Heart of Thorns in terms of playable space. I mean, it's already kind of silly though. POF in terms of playable space is massive. Even though it's only 1 extra map, it's absurdly big because those maps are so big. And it's such a weird thing because Cantha, it all depends what they do with the mounts. Like, that has to be a decision they make really early on. What are they doing with mounts this X-Pack? Because if they're fully embracing them, that necessitates more immense maps, just like POF and Living World Season 4 and so on.
The other thing is they don't have to be exactly like they were in Guild Wars 1 size-wise of the island of Cantha, right? They could say that because it's not going to be on the same world map necessarily. Right. They could just make the island of Cantha bigger than it was in Guild Wars 1, and you could sell it mounts.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot they could do. We spent a long time on this one. Let's go to the next comment here. This is from Shadow Knights. Well, we got to keep the pace going. Shadow Knight 17, who says, thoughts for a big topic. What if we have 3 mastery systems for the 3 kingdoms? They're not really kingdoms, by the way, but one for Kaineng, one for the Kurziks Ekavald, and one for the Luxons on the Jade Sea. It'd be fun to explore masteries for all 3. We've covered some for Kaineng and some for the Kurziks, the Ekavald. We haven't really touched on fun ideas for the Luxons in this series yet. So just a quick recap for you, Boots. We've proposed stone spores that create kind of dangerous toxin environments, just like we saw in Heart of Thorns with the Nuhok poison and stuff. Maybe in the Ekavald Forest. In the city, the idea of wall running or just a straight up climbing system for navigating a lot of verticality of all these Kowloon walled city style stacked up houses. What else have we I think that's really all we've been talking about. Maybe some other minor ideas. The question is, what would they do for the Jade Sea? The only proposal I've had so far is the idea that maybe the coral, the spiky coral that you could find there in Guild Wars 1, once again, is oppressive and you need to learn to deal with it. Oh, and we had an idea of
turtle mastery.
We had an idea for a mastery, Boots, which was you cleanse stuff in the immediate area around you. So, like, maybe there's like a petrified rope in the Ekavald Forest, and you use this mastery to make it a nice flexible vine that you can swing on or something, and then it repetrifies later. Or like maybe there are bouncing mushrooms there, but you have to like cleanse them first.
Okay, so you're thinking specifically to have masteries for map exploration in those areas.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's where masteries are best. Maybe they can affect combat if you want them to.
I don't know. I think that that's where masteries are made most of the time. Like, that's how masteries have turned out to be. But I always find that masteries are best when they're usable elsewhere than just a specific map.
Yeah, I think that's true, but then that's also kind of like, well, what angle do you want to take with that? Is it the mastery's fault, or is it the devs for not cross-pollinating the thing? Do you know what I mean?
I think it's the mastery's fault.
I don't. I think it's if they don't use... Like, for example, bouncing mushrooms, the devs are actually pretty good at putting all over the place now in multiple Living World releases, and I think it's quite a satisfying mastery now. Leyline gliding has been active in a fairly few areas. You know?
I mean, yeah.
All right. So what do you think? What do you think about the...
Well, I still like the idea of 3 mastery systems for the 3 factions. But I think that it should be more like... I don't know. More like you're trying masteries to try to like attune more to that faction, like try to gain their favor, and you get more bonuses that way. I'm not exactly sure how to again, you're putting me on the spot, so I have no idea. If you give me a week, I could think of some stuff.
See, masteries are hard to make, though. I think
they are hard to make.
They are hard. I don't like, for example, the Icebreed Saga. I don't think they've done a single good mastery this whole thing. And something you just mentioned there, I mean, you're entitled to the opinion. I don't like reward-based masteries. Like the Icebreed Saga has this thing where it's like, oh, here's this mastery, you now get better rewards in DRMs. Like, that's really rubbish to me. I think they're really lame. I like explorative ones.
It's tough to come up with good masteries. That's why, like, the best masteries are the ones that you really remember and like mounts, for example.
Well, and mounts are kind of a cop-out, I think, as well.
Oh, what?
As far as they didn't really have to be on the mastery system, not really. And I think that they managed to do it in some good ways, you know. It's tricky because the mastery system is something I did with mounts once 4 years ago, and now like the specific elation I felt when my raptor could now jump for longer is fading away into a distant memory, right? So maybe
also some of the core masteries, like the ones that give you the AOE loot and like.
See, that's an option. That's not a mastery. That's an option. Oh, my dog's growling.
A mastery is just a new way to get a certain type of perk.
Yeah, but I guess you just need to make sure that perk's fun in some way. And to me,
that's what I'm saying. I find the most fun perks are the ones that you could use in many places, not just in a certain area.
So do you think AoE loot is a fun mastery?
No, I think it's a nice mastery to have.
I think it's a nice perk to have. I don't think it's a nice mastery. Do you know what I mean? What have I done? I've mastered the ability to like get some quality of life.
Yeah, okay. So I mean that's it. So like yes, I would say that one of the more fun masteries was the those vines in
the Oakheart Salve things, yeah. Draconis Mons.
But that was only in one map. So like yes, I loved that mastery when I got it, but I used it for a grand total of like 1 week and then never used it again.
Yeah, I agree they're a bit weak. They came back in Dragonfall, by the way. Another great example, though, is the Sirens of War one. Or the Code and Torch one from Bitterfrost. Season 3 had a lot of those. So
to say that, just to bring it back to topic, I think that, yes, I would like masteries that could work for map exploration, just like mounts do. But have them faction specific. So like with Luxons, you get masteries to train and be able to ride certain types of turtles, the turtle mounts. For the Kurziks, maybe you do like tree grappling hook types stuff.
Well, I got another weird question for you. You're saying the factions. What do you think the city faction would be, so to speak? Are we with the Imperials? Are we with the Ministry of Purity, or against them?
I think it would be the Imperials.
I like the idea of an insurgent Tengu faction as well. You know.
Oh, okay.
People from the Dominion of Winds have returned to the land, and people who have survived there are now rising up, and maybe they're like a fourth kind of thing.
Yeah. So this is the thing. Like in my head, it's not going to happen. But in my head, I was thinking the 3 factions could be somehow tied. Well, you could have 3 factions, and you could somehow tie it to World versus World afterwards, or to guild versus guild stuff. You could have the original guild versus guild stuff, where it's 3 things fighting against each other, and you could tie your guilds to the factions. So like, your guild has to choose whether you're on the Luxon side, the Kurzik side, or the Empire side. And so your guild will progress in that faction and gain rewards based on that.
When you first said that, I thought, no way, that's way too ambitious. But actually, it's like kind of an overlaying kind of thing on top of World versus World and stuff that exists. I kind of see that. I think you might be on.
And as a character, you could dip your toe into every one, because you have more than one guild, right? So you could have a guild for one faction, a guild for another faction, etc.
Yeah, that's kind of a good idea, because one of the big things, especially about the Guild Wars 1 Cantha, was that idea of declaring allegiance for one thing or another. And maybe they can bring that back in Guild Wars 2, especially when it comes to World versus World and stuff. Yeah, I can see that. All right, well, guys, we've managed. I had a few more comments, but we'll do those another time, I think.
No, let's do it anyway.
No. We've talked over. If you guys like this, please do let us know. Give Boots all your support, and I'll try to bring them on a little bit more regularly. So here's the next thing, Boots. I'm going to be discussing with people their ideas for one of the elite specs, as far as Camp is concerned. So you get to pick the spec for the next big topic. What do you want to go with?
Bunny Thumper.
Okay, no, we already did Rangers, so you can't do Rangers. No. Pick a class, not.
Oh, I pick a class, and you guys do the elite specs.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go with. You know what? Warrior might be difficult.
Did we already do Warrior? I can't remember.
For elite specialization, yeah. Elite speculation, I think we did.
Yeah, but what about on this show? Did I do Warrior? I think I did Warrior on this show as well, because I didn't want it to overlap with something we'd already done. So pick another one.
Well, the other one. Oh, so did you already do Elementalist as well?
No, I don't think we've done Ellie. We can do Ellie if you want. Yeah.
You know what? No, it doesn't inspire me, Ellie.
Well, it doesn't matter though, because it's them that's making it.
Mesmer. I want Mesmer.
All right, Mesmer. Okay, guys. So give your ideas for Mesmer. Lots of big walls of text, whatever you like. I'll be pulling from them in the next couple of parts. That will be our big topic for that elite specialization. Thanks very much for the idea there, Boots. Thanks for coming on the show. And
no problem.
Hopefully you'll be back very soon. Cheers.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.